What if the most valuable IPO in human history doesn't just make OpenAI rich but quietly transforms Microsoft into the most dominant technology company the world has ever seen? We're standing at what could be a genuinely historic moment in financial markets. OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT, the AI chatbot that fundamentally changed how the world thinks about artificial intelligence, is reportedly on a trajectory toward a public offering that could value the company at $1 trillion. Let that number sink in for a moment. $1 trillion. That would eclipse the IPOs of Saudi Aramco, Alibaba, and virtually every other public offering in recorded history. But here's where the story gets truly fascinating and frankly, where most analysts aren't looking closely enough. The biggest financial winner from this seismic event might not be OpenAI's founders, or its venture capital backers, or even its employees who've been holding equity for years. It could very well be Microsoft. Let's rewind to understand why. Microsoft didn't just invest in OpenAI casually. Beginning in 2019 and continuing through a landmark deal in early 2023, Microsoft poured approximately $13 billion into OpenAI across multiple funding rounds. That's not a passive investment. That's a strategic commitment at the highest level of corporate decision-making. In exchange, Microsoft secured what's reported to be a 49% stake in OpenAI's capped profit arm, the commercial entity that sits beneath the non-profit parent structure. At a $1 trillion valuation, the mathematics of that stake become almost incomprehensible in their scale. Now, Microsoft's current market capitalization hovers around $3 trillion, making it consistently one of the 2 or 3 most valuable companies on Earth alongside Apple and Nvidia. But the OpenAI relationship isn't purely about equity value on paper. Microsoft has been quietly weaving OpenAI's technology into the very fabric of its product ecosystem. Azure, Microsoft's cloud computing platform, is the exclusive cloud provider for OpenAI's infrastructure. Every time ChatGPT processes a query, every time a developer builds on OpenAI's API, Microsoft's cloud infrastructure is working underneath it. That's recurring revenue at a scale that compounds with every advancement in AI adoption. Then consider Microsoft Copilot, the AI assistant now embedded across Microsoft 365, GitHub, Teams, and Windows itself. This isn't a standalone product. It's OpenAI's technology dressed in Microsoft's clothing, charging enterprise customers premium subscription fees to access productivity tools that simply didn't exist 3 years ago. GitHub Copilot alone surpassed 1 million paid users remarkably quickly, and Microsoft has been aggressively expanding Copilot's presence into enterprise contracts worth billions annually. So when OpenAI eventually moves toward that trillion-dollar IPO, and the signals suggest it's a matter of when, not if, Microsoft benefits on 3 distinct levels simultaneously. First, the paper value of its equity stake potentially appreciates dramatically. Second, the commercial validation of AI technology accelerates enterprise adoption of Microsoft's own AI-integrated products. And third, Azure's position as OpenAI's infrastructure backbone becomes even more strategically entrenched as OpenAI scales. There are, of course, meaningful complications to consider. OpenAI's unusual corporate structure, that hybrid non-profit and capped profit arrangement, creates genuine uncertainty about how an IPO would actually be structured and who benefits how much. There are ongoing legal questions, regulatory scrutiny around AI monopolization, and the competitive pressure from Google's Gemini and Meta's Llama models that could challenge OpenAI's dominance before an IPO ever materializes. But step back from the complexity for a moment and look at the broader picture. Microsoft made a bet that most of the technology industry initially dismissed as expensive and speculative. It now appears that bet may have been the most strategically intelligent investment decision of the entire artificial intelligence era. The trillion-dollar question isn't really whether OpenAI gets there, it's whether the rest of us fully understand that Microsoft may have already won the AI race before most competitors even realized the race had begun.